Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, producer Aiden behind the scenes for today's show. We'll run you through all the latest around the Dallas Cowboys as NFL Week 2, hours-ish, I guess it is just hours, away from getting going. Commanders and the Packers. I don't know who to cheer for. Normally I do like who you got Thursday night. I don't want to do it tonight because I don't want to deal both the tie. It helps the Cowboys because they own the Packers pick, but the Commanders are a division rival. I don't know who I'm going to cheer for. The asteroid? Who's to say? All right, we will discuss plenty on DaRon Bland amid his injury that will sideline him for Week 2 against the Giants, and to be determined how much longer. What is your concern level over the DaRon Bland injury? 1 to 10 is your scale. It ain't good. It doesn't sound as severe as last year's. I still don't know what the actual injury is because it was listed as a foot injury by the Cowboys. And then the good reporters were like, yeah, it's kind of a foot slash an ankle. And like, okay, how? Like, is that an ankle sprain? Is that a midfoot sprain? Is that the dreaded plantar fasciitis? Like, what actually is that? I am a little bit nervy about that particular one. So, what is your concern level over the DaRon Bland injury? 1 to 10 is your scale. 8, 10, 8, 10 cubed. I'm not good at math. What is 10 cubed? 1,000 is what AP says. Who's to say? 1 to 10 is the concern level. I guess I'll go 5 because I don't know how severe it actually is. But I don't like it. A guy that has been extremely. I don't think DaRon Bland had missed a game in his football career. Maybe he missed one and he was sick in grade school or some shit. He said he missed it due to injury since last year, but now it's back-to-back years getting banged up. I don't like that. I don't like that. Triple T says, what about my PO'd level? That's a 10. I think we're all at a 10 on that front because, of course, I think Diggs and Bland have played 4 games together or something the past 2 years. It's absurd. So give me your concern level in the comments section of today's show. The pinned poll, however, is who you got. Cowboys against the Giants. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. 97% voting in favor of the Cowboys. That's 3 votes of the nearly 200 for the G-men. As I said on Twitter today, I will crash out and post ask if the Cowboys lose to the Giants. I expect to beat this team every year. Every single season, I think that they should take care of business. Maybe it's not always a blowout. Maybe it is. You should win this game every single season. If you actually start 0-2 for the first time and you haven't done it in 14 years, which is insane, I'm going to be very upset. Extremely upset. So, C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. Who you got in the comments section of today's show? This is the super chat menu on today's video. Any super is a shout out. $5 is a raffle entry into our signed Jason Witten jersey for each. I went throwback with Witten because I got a lot of good memories of Jason Witten torching the Giants with both Romo and Dak, frankly. So I think that's a fun one there. Signed Witten jersey. $5 gets you a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 for the beer bong. You go in the helmet of honor as well. The goal today is to beat Giants Now, what they did in Super Chats on Monday's live show. Let's take them down today. 152 versus 0 to start. So let's see who gets it started, and I'd like to take down the Giants in the week and then, of course, during game day as well. So if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that Super Chat button. I guess you haven't already. Nobody has done it so far. So let's take down the Giants. $5 Super Chat. Gets you 1 raffle entry, $10 gets you 3 and more. So get those super chats in if you haven't already done so. Speaking of today's show, we will discuss some guys that I would like to see play more. Y for yes, N for no. Does Jaden Blue play against the New York Giants? Y or N in the comment section of today's video. I hope that he does. I'm not going to assume anything because I don't know. I think it's weird that, I don't know, pros and cons to it. You got to earn it. Great. You have to earn it. But what did Miles Sanders really earn? Like, he missed most of training camp with an injury, didn't look good in the preseason, and he got, it's fine if he's doing the little things better, but, at a certain point, let's play the better player. I think that's Jaden Blue right now, because in theory, he hits the same hole that Miles Sanders does, and he sure as heck ain't getting caught from behind by a linebacker, Zach Bond, who is supposed to be significantly slower than him. It's I'm playing Jaden Blue. Y for yes, N for no. What do you think ends up happening? Does Jaden Blue play against the Giants? Now, if you guys do not like the Giants, show it by liking today's video. The goal was always the 50% like ratio. Got about 50-ish likes compared to 250 people watching live right now. So like that video if you haven't already done so. Get those super chats in. See if you can't take down Giants now on that front either. Coming up on today's live edition of the Cowboys Report, we'll run through some Cowboys rumors and news. DaRon Bland heavy on that front, so make sure you guys are tuned into that. We got some players who I think should play more. Will they play more? We'll see what ends up happening. A mailbag. 2 ways to get in on the show. Number 1, use hashtag Cowboys. I saw TG Collects. I saw, forget who else I saw in there. Get your questions in via hashtag Cowboys, or else producer Aiden cannot find your question. We'll be unable to bring it up on screen. Or you can super chat. Skip the line altogether if you haven't already done so, which no one has yet. Who's going to be the first one to super chat today and help us take down the Giants in our super chat battle? We'll also run through a Cowboys versus Giants preview, all coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. So make sure you're locked in for the entirety of today's show. Let's get into the latest on DaRon Bland here on the Cowboys Report. He is not expected to play / is not going to. It hasn't been officially ruled out yet against the Giants, and the reporting is he could very well miss a few weeks with a foot / ankle injury. Kind of weird to see the Cowboys announce this as a foot injury, and then some of our better reporters were like, yeah, it's also an ankle too, which still don't know specifically what the injury is, which raises some red flags for me. ESPN's Todd Archer does say the injury is not as serious as last year that cost him well over half the season. It is also unrelated to the stress fracture he had in his foot last year. So good news there. Also, it's different. So it's good news, bad news right there. Reportedly in a boot, return status and timeline remains unclear, and that's not great for the Cowboys for a variety of reasons here. So what is your concern level over the DaRon Bland injury? 1 to 10 is your scale. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. So Bland has been healthy in college and everything, and early in his Cowboys career, got hurt last year, and now gets hurt again early in this season, right after the Cowboys pay him big-time money, which he's a good player. He's a great player when he's out there. I mean, he helped lock down the Eagles' passing offense, really. Now, it was zone coverage, but he did a good job playing inside and out. He also, the catches he allowed were to the running backs, like Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown didn't catch jack on DaRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs. But we haven't seen hardly any of Diggs and Bland together. I think the stat is 4 games. Might be misquoting people on that, so apologies. So it was 4 games over the past 2 years is all they've been able to play together. That's dumb. That's not fair, frankly. So Bland's not going to go. Trayvon Diggs will play. Kaiir Elam will play. Okay, there are the outside corners. The backup options are Trikweze Bridges and Reddy Stewart, who joined the team right before the start of the season and haven't played a real NFL game. Special teams that doesn't count. The cornerback room, once again, because of injuries, is extremely thin. So do the Cowboys need to get another corner? This is the pinned comment on today's video. Y for yes, N for no. Do the Cowboys need to go get another corner? Y for yes, N for no. Let's look at some replacements for the Cowboys then at the nickel corner spot. Reddy Stewart is on the active roster. We'll go more in depth on him in a minute. Zion Childress, the UDFA from Kentucky, made the roster initially, then got cut to make room for Stewart. Both of these players, I feel pretty confident in saying, will be on the game day roster. Childress is at least going to be a practice squad call-up. Stewart, of course, is already there. They'll be active. They don't have the depth right now beyond that. I hope they don't call up Robert Rochelle. It'd be kind of stupid. Stewart, I think, is first in line. Like, he's the one on the active roster. The Cowboys chose him over Zion Childress. So Stewart, I think, is going to be the first man up here. I saw the photo Nick Harris posted of looking like Allen Iverson with the single shooting sleeve and the wristband on the kind of below the elbow. Hey, my boy Patrick Seatman over at our Vikings channel said he had a great preseason. Okay, hope that happens. Zion Childress. Okay. I thought he had a good training camp. I thought he earned his way onto the roster. Cowboys found a way to keep both of them. You guys haven't played real games before. And I think there is extreme downside to banking on them playing significant roles, but it's not like there are a lot of options, especially for week 2. For week 2, it's Childress and it's Stewart. Those are your options. Like, you don't have another viable outcome at this time. Now, you could still go sign somebody, but they're not going to be helping you in week 2. I'll mention the 4 big names that everyone likes to talk about. First up is Asante Samuel Jr. Now, of note for Asante Samuel, he has a CT scan scheduled for October after he had spinal fusion surgery. So he can't help you right now, period. He is not going to be available for probably 2 months at this point. So cross him off your list, just not going to happen. Stephon Gilmore, the other corner everyone gets linked to. He does help you, but he helps you on the outside. He knows your scheme. I think that is certainly valuable, but Gilmore doesn't contribute at all in the nickel. You're not putting Stephon Gilmore at his age, 35 season that he's at right now. You're not putting him in the nickel. That is a recipe for disaster. He does not play the nickel anyway. He turns 35 in a week, by the way. So, he helps you on the outside, helps your depth there significantly, but he does nothing for you as a nickel option. 2 guys who might. Kendall Fuller, first up here. He's got inside-outside flexibility. ESPN's Todd Archer mentioned him in the kind of preseason timeline as a potential cornerback option. The decline has very much set in. But you know what? When we are in early September, mid-September, we're in the beggars can't be choosers stage. That's just how it goes. The top nickel option would be Mike Hilton. And Hilton stands out to me as a coverage liability, we've talked about him before, but someone who can blitz, which the Cowboys, like Matt Eberflus, did it against the Eagles too. Did a lot in his last year with the Bears. He liked the nickel blitz. Hilton, I don't like him in coverage, but I do think he helps you as a run support player. But again, the options are limited. I think part of this ends up coming down to how long really is Mike Hilton going to be out? And if the answer is DaRon Bland, the answer is like 2-3 weeks, maybe you just try to survive. If it's a month or more, it's probably overdue to go get some help there. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you could cash in. It's the best way to get in on action in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Here is my Cowboy-centric Prize Picks lineup. I'm taking the max discount Travis Kelce, a half receiving yard. I'm going to go with Brandon Aubrey, more than 2.5 point after, so I'm thinking 3 Cowboys touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, more than 76.5 receiving yards. Huge fan of that particular more than, less than. Go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to the potential George Pickens extension here. Marcus Mosher over at Fans had argued, hey, a George Pickens deal could be happening. Maybe it increases the speed in which it gets done after other wide receiver deals. I have my doubts here, kind of significant doubts. Now, there were two wide receivers who got paid in recent days, Jameson Williams of the Lions and Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers. Williams is dealing left. Initially reported figures don't have in-depth details on that, so some of these might be funny money numbers, but it's only 3 years, so actually maybe not. $83 million, that's just under $28 million per year, $67 million guaranteed. Christian Watson getting a 1-year, $11 million deal with $6 million guaranteed. Of note, the Christian Watson contract has zero impact on the George Pickens deal. There's none. Christian Watson is hurt. He is rehabbing. He may not play this year at all, period. I don't think anything about the Watson deal impacts any wide receiver unless Pickens were to get hurt tomorrow or in week 5, whatever, and they work out a little quick extension for him. Like, that's the only way it impacts it. You can throw it away. Does not matter. What does matter here are how the top wide receiver 2s in the NFL have been paid. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, the 1Bs, right? They're getting $28 million. Jameson Williams got 27. Devonta Smith got 25. Debo is an asterisk. The Commanders redid it a little bit, but he also got paid as the one in San Francisco. But make note of that, 23. Chris Godwin got 22, coming off of an injury, by the way. Devontae Adams got 22. A while ago, Christian Kirk got 18. Guaranteed money-wise, Waddle and Devonta above $70 million. T. Higgins way down there at 40.9, in large part because the Bengals do some weird structure stuff, and T, frankly, took less than he could have gotten. I don't think the Watson deal has any impact. The Williams deal might. He had a better season last year than Pickens did, but it's his first good season at long last in the NFL. It's also a first-round pick. Some more on this to come, but will the Cowboys extend George Pickens in season? A for yes, B for no. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I get the vibe that both sides are perfectly content to let this play out and check in again at the end of the season. And I think you can also make a very strong argument that's the right move for both sides. The Cowboys want to see how Pickens fits in. Does he do all the little things right that maybe he didn't do right in week 1? Pickens wants to see what his market looks like playing with the best quarterback he's ever had and the best supporting wide receiver he's ever had. I understand why both sides are down with it. That's why I'm not upset if the Cowboys don't get a deal with Pickens preseason. They don't need to necessarily. Right now, he's dirt cheap, $3.66 million. What matters here, though, is the franchise tag for 2026. The projected figure per over the cap is around $28 million. So that is a figure to keep in mind because it's the second tag, which if you wanted to use it, you could, is $33.66 million. The Cowboys have kind of set themselves up to have the option to use the franchise tag on George Pickens. The other top free agents are Dante Fowler. They can do other stuff with Brandon Aubrey, Khair Elam, like Sam Williams. Like they can. The franchise tag, I think, would really only be used on Pickens. And if I were George Pickens' agent, athletes first grouping, by the way, I would not sign a deal for less than what that 2026 franchise tag cost is. Even if I'm not going to get that figure per year in the open market, I can either get tagged at the top end, wide receiver 2 rate, essentially, or I hit the open market. When the cap goes up, you see overpays all the time in an iffy free agency group. And even if I'm not getting $28 million, I could probably still get 25. And that's probably more than what the Cowboys are offering me right now and probably should be offering me right now. So the other options are old Mike Evans, Jacoby Myers, Juwan Jennings, Big Debo. I think this is why we're kind of just going to wait and why there's not going to get a deal done early. Now, if you want more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos, hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos each and every single day right here on the channel. One quick note before we go. Clarence Hill, who overtweets at times, tweeted this out not long after the Cowboys, Bengals game, September 7th, either way, about Cowboys who trade for Trey Hendrickson. Cool. Sweet. How does that make any sense for Cincinnati? Why would the Bengals, who are 1-0, harboring legitimate playoff aspirations, trade away Hendrickson after they finally got him to show up, make an impact in week 1, and gave him more money? Why does that make sense for Cincinnati? The answer is, well, what if the Cowboys blew them out of the water with a big-time overpay? Why does that make sense for the Cowboys? Why would they give up, people like, throw in a future one for a 30-plus-year-old edge rusher? I don't want to do that. Who also wants a big-time contract? No. Does it really make sense for either side? If the Bengals collapse, we can revisit this idea. But right now, I don't get why it makes sense for Cincinnati, and frankly, why it makes sense for the Cowboys at this point. That race has kind of been run. You want edge help, and you got to go in a different direction. Pin poll on today's show. Who you got? C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. C or G? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We'll give some shout-outs here in the comments as well. I see a lot of C's, no surprise there. Jason, Creighton, Vincent, Keith, Oren, James, Daniel. DeLunatic says Cowboys by double digits. I like it. Amy, Trey Fax, Rex, Robert, Zachary, Jacoby, the great Duke Bothers. Amy says C. Daniel, Mr. J, Bry. Keep the votes coming. C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. Get to Trey Fax, $5 super chat. You are in to our signed Jason Witten jersey raffle. Hey, Tom, love your videos. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that. Question is, who would you start if Bland's being out? Zion or Stewart, or do you need to go sign Gilmore? Gilmore can't play nickel, so it doesn't actually help you there. My guess is both will be active. Both might be called upon, depending on how the first guy plays, but they added Reddy Stewart to the active roster. I would not be surprised if he gets the first crack at it. Hopefully he plays well, or else it's kind of a dire, straight situation, I fear, for the Cowboys. All right, this is our Super Chat menu. $5 is a raffle entry. $10 equals 3 raffle entries for our Week 2 signed Jason Witten jersey raffle. $50 for a shot, $100 for a beer bong, and you will go in the Cowboys helmet of honor. Put your name on one of the helmet stickers. Once it gets filled up, we will raffle that away. So that is the Super Chat menu for you on today's show. We are trying to take down what the Giants did in their Monday live stream. They're at 152. I don't want to lose to them. We're way behind here, obviously. So all the Super Chats are the same as what it is for the game. Same deals, same entries, same everything there. So get your Super Chats in now. See if we can't catch up and take down the Giants in our Super Chat battle. Appreciate Trey Fax, who already Super Chatted at this point. You guys, you're awesome. Thank you very much. We'll keep going here with the rest of today's show momentarily. So make sure you like the video as well. Coming up on today's Cowboys Report, looking at 5 Cowboys players, 5 so you can actually see, who I think should play more in NFL Week 2 against the Giants. Will they? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I think these are 5 names that should absolutely be considered. Now, we are in a like battle this week against Giants now. As of Thursday evening, we have a narrow lead over Giants now. Let's change that. Let's blow them out of the water. I think we can double the lead right now. Free, simple, easy to do. Like the video for me right now. First player who I would like to see play more against the Giants, how about Jaden Blue? Javonte Williams, I thought, did a solid job in Week 1. It wasn't a bunch of big plays, did punch it in twice. The average was brought down by some short yardage stuff, but the success rate was super high. Miles Sanders had a big run and then a bad fumble and got caught from behind. And I understand the Cowboys' desire of hey, you have to do all the things right to get on the field in practice. I get that. I agree. You also do things right in games, and fumbling, getting caught from behind is kind of a bad thing. Now, Jaden Blue's got his own fumbling history, but he ain't getting caught from behind if he hits the same hole Miles Sanders did. And maybe the game is completely different if he doesn't fumble or if he hits the hole and scores. One big run from Miles Sanders doesn't really change the fact that, a short yardage run and then a fumble and another short run. Jaden Blue brings me what I don't have in the backfield right now. It's explosiveness, big playability, speed. Javonte's not crazy fast. Miles Sanders, respectfully, looked straight up slow. So at a certain point, I get that you want to have the guys who are practicing, being consistent, whatever, right? Also play your best guys. Because, you know what's worse than inconsistency in practice, and that's why they don't play, because they're afraid of this happening, but inconsistency in games. Not sure what's worse than a fumble and getting caught from behind on what should have been a touchdown run. Here's what Brian Schottenheimer said earlier this week on Jaden Blue. Young players hits at different times. I'll talk about Jaden. Extremely talented, but there's a way you have to perform, especially with the mantra of compete every day. I think that they scratched Jaden Blue because they didn't love what they saw throughout the week of practice. Okay, it's on Jaden Blue to be more consistent at practice, and I get you don't want to reward a player, but Shotty also said depending on what else happens, maybe they have an average week, they still got to go. That's Jaden Blue right now. He needs to be out there. Otherwise, I need the explosive plays from him. So what do you think? Will Jaden Blue play against the Giants? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. All right, Maurice Liufau is next up here. That is the linebacker. And this one, the Cowboys are specifically hinting at, hey, maybe he will get more playing time. Schottenheimer's alluded to it. Matt Eberflus has as well. Great. I want to see it before I say it's done deal and it's happened, right? The linebacker snap counts in week 1 with a pretty heavy dose of base personnel, actually, from against the Eagles from Matt Eberflus. 62 for Kenneth Murray. Jack Sanborn had 47. Damone Clark had 41. Maurice Liufau had 6. The biggest issue here, it's just PFF grades, but I think it matches up at least somewhat well with the eye test. The grades were an inverse of the snaps. It's not a good thing. Now, PFF has never liked Kenneth Murray, so maybe it's a little bit of a harsh grade. But he got lost in the sauce sometimes. Damone Clark was more athletic, but I didn't love him chasing down Hurts. Liufau, you feel his presence on the field more. That's the way I view it. He's in the game. I noticed he was in the game right away, right? And not even just trying to count out who's out there. You just notice him. He brings you more energy out there on the field as well. And Kenneth Murray's a better athlete, sure, but if the instincts are failing you, that doesn't do anything. So I hope that Liufau gets a chance. I kind of feel like we're making the same mistakes, different players as last year. Remember last year when this Cowboys coaching staff was like, hey, we're not going to play DeMarvion Overshown more in week 2 against the Rams. I went, oh, we messed that up. Yeah, you did. Don't make the same mistake with Liufau. I think you miss Overshown, obviously, but I do think Liufau kind of needs to be out there. Today's show is made possible by Ethos, the father of one kid and a second one on the way. Due any day. Trust me when I say life insurance matters. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you, but you do need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry, and it's more affordable than you might think. Ethos is an online platform that makes life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There is no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. You just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage for them. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get that free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Appreciate Ethos sponsoring us here on the Cowboys Report. Now, I picked my 5 names not long after week 1 wrapped up. Trayvon Diggs was always going to be on there. Now he's doubly on there because of the DaRon Bland uncertainty. Diggs played 26 snaps in week 1. The Cowboys went on the pitch count. I have no complaints about that. That makes sense. You're coming off the injury, keep him out there, not in base personnel. It's fine. No issues. Well, now you have to. With DaRon Bland hurt, I don't think you can do the pitch count stuff. As long as Diggs is feeling good, I think you have to put him out there. You're not going to play him at nickel, obviously, but when you're in base packages, who do you want out there? Trayvon Diggs or Triquez Bridges. Come on. You're playing Diggs. Stewart is a nickel. Childress is a nickel. You're going to have to play Diggs on the outside. Not the entire game. Like, he and Elam are going to have to be out there. It's fine. It's not a bad thing. But, like, because I thought actually they did a pretty good job in his very few run support / tackling support efforts. But he's got to go. It's time. There's really no other options. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys cornerback room amid all the injuries? I got all the different asterisks and everything else in there. It's kind of crazy. 1 to 10 is your scale. Kevontae Turpin, the wide receiver, is next up here. Now, he played a decent amount. This kind of is a bit more usage derived than anything else. The snaps were actually 1 in favor of Jalen Tolbert. Tolbert had the big-time whiff on a block, although I still have a tough time. Might have just been designed to go in the slant, and he just kind of got caught between blocking and running the route like he was supposed to. It wasn't a design. Anyway, I digress. He missed. That's what matters. 1 catch, 0 yards, whatever. Turpin got 4 touches in total. You could maybe go 5 or 6. The issue with Turpin, who I think, with what the Giants are doing, I think you could justify not having to limit Lamb to the slot as much as I kind of wanted to limit him against the Eagles with the advantages there. Giants don't have a receiving quarterback that can cover Lamb. You can put Turpin out there more. I think the opposing defense's issues allow you to do a little bit more of that. The issue with Turpin is I don't know if he's a true every down wide receiver. I like how they used him with a lot of pre-snap motion. Keep doing that. He's someone you still have to a little bit scheme for stuff, and I would rather scheme stuff for Lamb than I would for Turpin. So you do kind of limit the personnel usage, but I think 5 to 6 touches a game is actually probably pretty solid for Kevontae Turpin. We will have more Cowboys coverage for you each and every single day right here on the channel. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Last name here, how about Marshawn Kneeland? And the Cowboys kind of did make this change mid-game. They kind of went, okay, Kneeland to go play more against the run in particular. The defensive end snap counts from this past week's matchups. Sam Williams, had 9. Marshawn Kneeland, 29. Dante Fowler, 27. Ezraku, 22. James Houston, who I almost put on this list, played a little bit. I think he does offer you some good as a pass rusher, but I wanted to focus on the run defense side. It's sorted by snap counts and against the run, which is 25, 19, 18, 9, 2. Sam Williams, 56.7 grade. Dante Fowler, 44.6. Overran stuff sometimes. I don't love Sam Williams or Dante Fowler against the run. Ezraku and Houston are kind of undersized. I kind of want to make Marshawn Kneeland my top run-setting defensive end. I'm a bit worried about that spot overall. I thought he did a good job. Like, he was the one who kept his rush gap sound. He was not out there, like, cutting in, jumping around, giving the cutback lane for Hurts or whatever. Like, I thought he pushed the pocket well, was a good run support player, had the sack. Like, I kind of would almost lean Kneeland as my top defensive end snap count getter, at least on early downs. I think his run defense is a bit better than the other guys that the Cowboys can play out there. Give us some honorable mentions here in a second. But who do you think needs to play more for the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. All right, a couple names here. Brevin Spann-Ford, the tight end, I thought did a good job blocking, but I thought all the tight ends did a pretty good job blocking. Even Jake Ferguson had a really good block in a run play, which hasn't always been his strength. So I'm okay not doing him. Mentioned Houston previously. Hunter Lipke, the fullback. Like, you paid him. Special teams numbers, it's fine. The contract is not an issue at all. But, like, 8 snaps is kind of low. Like, could you try to get him a bit more involved in some tight end, H-back, fullback stuff? I think it's at least worth having that conversation about. It is mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. 2 ways to get in on the show. Use hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. Were some hashtag Cowboys that came in already. Any Super Chat, though, will get you up into the video as well. Any Super Shout out will give you some love. $5, you're into our Jason Witten signed jersey raffle for week 2. $10 gets you 3. $50 gets you a shot. $100, I'll do a beer bong, and you will go on the Beer Bong Hall of Fame. Or I guess it's the Helmet Hall of Fame this year. Put your initials onto the helmet. Once it is filled up, Everyone who is on there, we will raffle it off and give it away for you. So that is the Super Chat menu on today's show. The goal is to beat the Giants in the in-week, I guess, Super Chat battle. We're behind right now by a pretty good amount, but, $100, beer bong, Hall of Fame, boom, just like that. We're gaining up ground real quick there. Plus, any Super Chats that we get to, we will put in the mailbag here as well. So get your questions in via #Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. I will make note, there are some super thanks we'll be getting to as part of today's mailbag. So questions in, #Cowboys or via Super Chat. Welcome to the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. Once again, mailbag time from Empire We Are. He says the Belichick New England model. While cutthroat and ruthless, you can't argue with the results. Patriots would have replaced Brady in a heartbeat if he didn't produce. Jones should have learned from Kraft. Belittle players only as long as they produce. Winning, not marketing, the only metric. I think for the most part, NFL teams are pretty good about being cutthroat and being ruthless. NFL cuts players all the time. No one gets upset about it because winning should be the only metric. For Jerry, they sometimes feel like a marketing team that happens to play football and not a football team that markets, That last line is the one that stands out to me, Empire. Thank you very much for your super chat. Or super thanks, excuse me. That got him into our signed Jason Witten jersey raffle. Every $5 super thanks or super chat all season long will get you in to our weekly game raffle. So get your super chat, super thanks in right now. Skeptical Fan has his score prediction. He says 41-13 Cowboys. I would be a happy camper. It'd be fun to have that game be so out of hand, the Dallas Cowboys take care of business. So I hope you are right. I'm not going to go, I did not go that extreme on the super chat or on the score prediction, but I do think the Cowboys should win. I already took them to cover. $5 from William Cook. Says, I was kind of waiting for this to happen. Not necessarily to Bland, but some injury would happen. I don't think we will ever see Bland and Diggs on the same field for more than a couple of games. I'm very tired of the practice injuries. How does that keep happening to this team? It's not unique to Dallas. It happens across the NFL. Doesn't mean it's good or acceptable. I'm annoyed by it. I can't stand how the Bland, even go back to Bland, Lewis, Diggs trio, they couldn't keep two of them on the field at the exact same time, let alone all three. I think Diggs and Bland have played 4 games or something together the past 2 seasons. If Diggs is healthy, Bland gets hurt. Bland's healthy, Diggs get hurt. It's just annoying and stupid and dumb, and I'm tired of it. It continues to add evidence to the theory that Jerry Jones sold his soul to get some championships and is now paying it. It feels like they're cursed, which I'm sure is how a lot of teams who haven't won a championship in a while feel. Do you think, this is just a fun, not fun or lighthearted, but not serious, put it that way, poll, are the Cowboys cursed? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show, Y or N. From Steven, if we release Mozzie, does that help us in signing Clowney? My answer obviously is not really. You have a roster spot open already. So you don't need to cut Mozzie Smith to make room for Jadeveon Clowney. You have the spot available. Money-wise, it does technically save you some cash, but that's only if he gets claimed. Mozzie Smith's salaries this year and next year are already fully guaranteed. You cut him right now, and no one picks him up and he stays unsigned, you actually lose money. Now, if a team claims him, it does save you some money. I don't know if there's any offset language in his contract, but if he goes unclaimed and then signs somewhere for the vet minimum, you're still not really saving anything. So it actually just cuts into your salary with the way the deal is set up. You trade him, it does make it easier, sure, but I don't think there's any correlation. You can cut Mozzie if you want because he can't get on the field, okay. Money does not help you. Have the roster spot. Doesn't help you. Doesn't hurt you either, though. Just kind of, they're two separate paths, thoughts. TG collects any free agent corners other than Gilmore that we can sign. I mean, go to that list for Aiden of the top free agent corners. Gilmore has familiarity with the scheme. He's an obvious name. I understand why everyone mentions him. He doesn't help me at nickel corner, though. He's an outside guy. Asante Samuel Jr., big name, not healthy. He's not going to be even potentially cleared until October, coming off the neck surgery, the spinal fusion, I should say, which is, don't like hearing that as a football player. Kendall Fuller, Mike Hilton, inside, outside for Fuller, nickel for Hilton. Those two names stand out for me. As of filming, Mike Hilton had a workout with the Eagles earlier this week, but hasn't signed yet and may or may not sign. Also had a visit with the Colts. He can run support, but he's not a good coverage player anymore. Like the Bengals at times pull him off fields on third downs, which is like unheard of for an early down nickel. That's why he's available, essentially. Kendall Fuller is kind of aging, the same guy who was in his prime. So there are options, just might not mean that they're good options. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. It can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn those takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Cowboys-centric one for you. Brandon Aubrey more than 2.5 point after attempts made. So 3 TDs, and the alien delivers on the extra points. CeeDee Lamb more than receiving yards, and the max discount. Travis Kelce, a half receiving yard. That's it, a half. Put it in your lineup. It's a no-brainer. Go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play that first $5 lineup. The Lunatic, how many plays versus Filthy was Sanborn the green dot? Tough for me to go back and look exactly of like how many was he the green dot in terms of who was out there. I don't think Kenneth Murray came off the field in that game. I'm pretty sure, I'm double checking right now. I'm pretty sure he was out there for every snap. So I think he was the green dot for all of them. Now, Sanborn did some green dot stuff in the preseason, so he has the ability to do it. I'm down to try that. I don't think Murray played that great, but I think it was Murray the entire time in week 1, which, noteworthy. Trey Fax hates on the videos. Question to you is who would start with Bland being out? Zion or Stewart, or do you need to go sign Gilmore? Gilmore is an outside corner. Doesn't help me. Plus, he's not going to be able to play in week 1. The ramp-up time is too short. I think it's probably Reddy Stewart first crack. Wouldn't be shocked if we saw Zion Childress either. You could even have a rotation early in the game, depending on how they're playing. It's a pretty big concern going into week 2. $10 from William Cook says, thanks for the Bland jersey. You are welcome, William. But it came the same day he was injured. Kind of frustrating, sad how that happens. I would trade it for a fully healthy team for the season. Wouldn't we all? I blame myself for that one. We do the signed DaRon Bland jersey giveaway, and then he gets hurt. We're doing Jason Witten this week, so hopefully nothing bad, knock on wood, can happen on that front. From Kai, I don't know how to say it on there. CKO, I don't know. Apologies. Kenneth Walker trade. You could call. He wasn't great in week 1. Seems like he's the 1B to the 1A of Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet was better. Offensive line, scheme stuff, whatever. Obviously an impact there. Seattle doesn't have much depth behind him, though. They kind of just might want to ride with 2. But if Seattle can't win games, that is definitely a name to monitor as the trade deadline approaches. So name a player who you want the Dallas Cowboys to trade for. Let me know in the comments section of today's show who is a player you want the Dallas Cowboys to go out and trade for. $5 from Angel Alexander. Appreciate that, Angel. It says, or Angel, however you pronounce it. Agree on the Leaf front. Given it's the Giants, what do we need to see to believe in the Cowboys being a contender, excluding we need to see more? I'll say this. Like, a blowout makes us feel better about it, right? I don't think that there's really anything this Cowboys team can do against the Giants to say, see, they're a contender. Because the counteract here is, they just might be bad. Like the Giants might just be a bad football team. And contenders beat up on bad football teams, but so do like low-end playoff teams. So I don't know if there's really anything the Cowboys can do to make me think they're a true contender against the Giants. That's going to come later in the season when the schedule gets very, very tough. Mr. Shazam, 808s. Think about having our docs check out Christian Wilkins, seeing how far he is coming back and signing him. I think there's so much unknown with Wilkins. Like, part of me thinks the reason that no team has brought him in for a medical checkup is because his camp does not want the medical checkup yet. My gut feeling here is the medical red flags are still there, so there's no point in him going to visit with a team because he's still technically getting paid by the Raiders for the time being. Grievance is pending there. No one's going to pay him big money when he's hurt, so it's kind of just a waiting game for Christian Wilkins. Once he's actually healthy, sure, bring him in, check it out. I do think adding Kenny Clark helps mitigate that as a potential need. Fade City Parlay. What will happen if Dallas loses? I will melt down. I will crash out. As I said on social media, will post ass on the timeline. I expect to beat the Giants every single season. If they don't, I'm disappointed. I'll be mad, frankly. Like, they should take care of business pretty easily. Give me your score predictions for the Cowboys and the Giants. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Give me those score predictions between the Cowboys and the Giants. Daniel M. When I first heard the news on Bland hurting his foot, I was frustrated. And now with him out, I'm struggling to see how Stewart or Childress play it at nickel. Well, if you mean struggling of like seeing them play well, it's fair. We haven't seen them in a real game. Like, Childress had a good preseason, good camp. Stewart was good for the Vikings in the preseason. But, like, if you mean struggling to see how they play, period, well, they have to play. There's nobody else available. Like, they're kind of out of options at that point. So that is a huge concern for me. If I were the Giants, I would line up Malik Neighbors every single snap in the nickel. Or in the slot. And I'd say, zone bracket him if you can. Like, that's what I would do. Every snap. And see if they give you some man reps. I would challenge that matchup every snap. Carson, who will have the most sacks among all the edge rushers? I'll go Dante Fowler. I think in the end, Dante Fowler gets going and finishes with maybe not quite 10 sacks, but it'll be, I think, a pretty heavy committee sack-based approach. But I think as the veteran, he'll get going sooner than like an Ezra who might get going kind of mid-late part of the season. If you want your questions featured on a Cowboys mailbag, sub now and do not miss out on any of our coverage here on the Cowboys Report. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Daniel, how do you think the Clowney visit went? What are your thoughts? I think we'll have to wait and see. I don't think they're going to sign him this week. Famous last words. I guess I'll just cut it out. I'll cut it out of the mailbag if they sign him on Saturday before this goes out. Is what I'll do. Act like it never happened. I wouldn't rule out like revisiting later. Like, let's see how the game goes on Sunday. But I just think that's kind of like a wait and see approach. I wonder what the money looks like. I don't think it's about being in shape or schematic fit or the player. I bet it comes down to money. I don't know what Clowney wants. Don't know what the Cowboys were willing to offer. So we'll wait and see. This is the Super Chat menu. We're not close to catching the Giants, but this is the menu on today's show. Any Super Chat is a shout out. $5 gets you a raffle entry into our signed Jason Witten jersey raffle. $10 is 3 raffle entries. $50, I'll do a shot. $100 for the beer bong, and you will go, on our Cowboys helmet of honor. It's the icy white helmet. Had a bunch of entries in week 1. Every $100 gets you on there. We'll fill it up all the way up to the top, the sides, not on the logo, obviously, but we'll fill it up. Once it is filled, every name who is on here will get entered to win said helmet. And the stickers are peelable. So if you don't want them on there, you can always take them off. That's not a huge deal. So $100 for that, and I'll do a beer bong. We're trying to beat the Giants in the weekly Super Chat battle in week. Not game day's different, obviously. We're behind by a lot with just one segment to go, which is it is kind of disappointing. So help us out. Get those super chats in right now. Before we get to our next and final segment on the show, be honest with me. What's your confidence level in beating the Giants? 1 to 10 is your scale. I'll sip some water here. Confidence level in the Cowboys beating the G-Men. Like Alex Cruz's super chat. Remember going to an open Cowboys practice? Jason Witten went down the rail, gave everyone an autograph. I'll never forget. I picked the Witten jersey this week because I got a lot of good memories of Jason Witten just taking care of business against the Giants. Just like, even late in his career where like you're seeing Travis Kelce do kind of the exact same stuff. Like, they can't move anymore. They're out there lumbering, but they just get open somehow. They got that old man energy. It's like when you're playing your old man in basketball and he's just backing you down with post moves left and right, and it's like you can't stop him even though you're more athletic. Eventually the athleticism overpowers it, but like it's that old man game. Jason Witten, still, Y option always works somehow. So back to the confidence level against the Giants, 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show, and we'll dive into the final segment, the preview, Cowboys Giants. Cowboys versus Giants, a rare 1 p.m. window game, Eastern time, for the Dallas Cowboys. Line has moved a little bit, 4.5. It's kind of dropped, so more money coming in on the Giants, which great. Just makes it better for me to pick the Cowboys to win. Updated scoring offense, scoring defense stats going into this one. Giants are the league's worst offense. They scored 6 points. It's just one game. They'll ebb and flow and change a lot, but not exactly a good thing on that front for the Giants. We'll break this game down in depth. We will be live for the game as well. Start time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern is the plan here on the Cowboys Report. Live for pregame and build-up. Live for the game itself and do post-game videos for you as well. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. The Week 2 injury reports, as I'll make note every week, we're filming this Thursday evening, so sometimes stuff changes as you get closer to kickoff there. DaRon Bland, not expected to go. Malik Hooker has a foot that, barring a setback, should play. Andrew Thomas, big question marks here. He practiced late in the week last week, but then didn't practice early this week. And that's just like, that's kind of a red flag after several days off. So we'll see about Andrew Thomas. That'd be a significant loss for the Giants. Certainly one to monitor. Micah McFadden is not going to play. Expectation, the comments from others have been that Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors are going to be able to play. But certainly ones to monitor on that front, with Neighbors kind of always being banged up and having something going on there. But I think the main one to watch is Andrew Thomas. That'd be a huge loss for the G-Men. Let's talk matchups to watch, Cowboys-Giants. And I could have done, honestly, I could have done every single top 5 Giants lineman against the top 5 Cowboys offensive linemen. I'll just group it together as one because you got some key players here. You got first-year right guard Tyler Booker, who I thought was struggle with stunts. If I were the Giants, I'm stunting at Booker, and I'm going to keep stunting him until he gets better at picking them up. Thought Terrence Steele was actually pretty solid against everyone but Josh Uche. And was a great run blocker against the Eagles. Tyler Guyton, the rewatch wasn't as good as it was live, which it happens sometimes. But I thought he held up, and they kept Dak Prescott upright against a pretty good Eagles rush. They didn't have Jalen Carter, though. This might be a tougher test against the Giants. Now, my boy Marshall Green made a good point. The Giants played Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter together it was 6 snaps or something like that, which those are your 4 best players, but the problem you run into is you can't do that outside of obvious passing downs. You're too light. So avoid obvious passing downs and you won't face it. But Dexter Lawrence is incredible. He is a nightmare to block. That trio of edges, Kayvon, Burns, and Carter are really good. This game could very well be won or lost in the trenches. Who you got in this one? C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. It is the pinned comment on today's show. I want to see 1,000 C's in the comment section of today's show. So go vote. C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. Second matchup to watch. Cowboys run defense against the Giants' run offense. Now, against the running backs, the Cowboys defense did a pretty solid job. There were a couple missed tackles that boosted the numbers, but they kind of did an elite job against inside runs. The Eagles had no real success. 24 carries, 96 yards, just a 4-yard average, 42% success rate. By Eagles standards, that was not very good. The Giants on the ground last week against the Commanders, how do I put this delicately? In the words of the great Tate Martell, he's ass, my dude. 10 carries, 24 yards for Tyrone Tracy. Okay. Devin Singletary, 3 carries, 9 yards. Okay. Cam Scatterby with a great run on the catch, but 2 carries, -3 yards. Lock him up on the ground. Don't let him get going. And make the Giants have to beat you through the air with Russell Wilson, and we'll talk about that stuff later on too. I want to see a strong Cowboys run defense effort. Otherwise, could be a very different game for the Giants offense. Third matchup to watch. Dallas in the red zone. I put Donovan Wilson up there because he's a captain. And the Giants in the red zone. So red zone defense for Dallas, Giants red zone offense. Stats for my boy Marshall Green. F. Marshy as always still. 11 plays inside the 10. 11 plays inside the 10-yard line. 13 plays in total inside the red zone. 3 points. That's not winning football. And the Giants, last 2 years, now including this year, they bad. They have been a bottom 2 team in red zone touchdown efficiency the last 3 seasons. You know, he had the video. The Giants' issues are the same as they were last season. It's tough to win games when you're not punching it in the end zone half the time you get in there. It's really hard to win games. It's almost impossible. Today's show is made possible by Ethos, the father with 1 kid and a second one on the way. Trust me when I say life insurance matters. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you, but you do need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. They are a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. And it's more affordable than you might think. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There's no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. You get a quote in as little as 10 minutes, and you just answer a few simple health questions. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage for them. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Get that free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Fourth matchup to watch. CeeDee Lamb against any of the corners for the New York football Giants. I don't care who covers CeeDee Lamb. I don't think the Giants have a singular player who can hang with him one-on-one or even in zone coverage. CeeDee Lamb, the 4 drops, can't happen. Gotta be better. Can't make those mistakes. Have to make the plays. You can't do it. Against the Giants, over the course of his career, he's cooked these frauds. 859 yards in 10 games played. It was going to be a little bit higher had he had the not great final game. Over the course of a season, he's putting up 1,460 yards. He's putting up all pro receiver numbers. You think Paulson Adebo can cover him? Can Drew Phillips cover him in the slot? Can Cordell Flott hang? Deonte Banks, the first-round pick, who's getting benched, has been benched by New York. I don't care. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to feast against the G-Men. Do you think that Lamb bounces back despite the drops against the Eagles? I absolutely think so. Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 5, it's the inverse. The Giants' dude at wide receiver. That is Malik Nabers against the Cowboys' defensive backs. Now, against the Commanders, inefficient. 12 targets, 5 catches, 71 yards. The stat of the day. The Giants' wide receiver, Nabers, has had 10-plus targets in 68.8%, so 69% of his career games. That is the highest rate of any NFL player since before I was born. 1991. Malik Nabers is a dude. but he's not an efficient dude because the quarterback play has not been very good. Now, you're not going to have DaRon Bland in this game. If I were the Giants, what I would do is I would put Malik Neighbors in the slot a lot. And I would try to get him matched up on Reddy Stewart or probably Zion on Childress, one of those two guys, because I like that matchup. I'm still going to see them force feed it to Malik Neighbors. The one thing the Cowboys can do to counteract this and limit Neighbors and limit this passing offense, which has not been very good, is to make Russell Wilson hold the football. Russell Wilson was once one of the best backyard quarterbacks in football. All the highlights, him running around, making plays, buying time, chucking it downfield. He ain't that guy anymore. Against the Commanders, on plays that took longer than 2.5 seconds for the ball to go out or the play to stop, a sack, 5 of 20, 58 yards, 2.9 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 2 sacks. Expected points added, negative 18.5. The only quarterbacks who were worse on a per-play basis, Bryce Young and Tua. It's a bad combination to be in. The Giants' offensive line is shaky. You get in when Russ gets the ball quickly, it was pretty solid against the Commanders. I think the advantage is very much in favor of the Cowboys in this area. Players to watch now. Kenneth Murray. We'll go a little bit rapid fire here. I want to see more and better from Kenneth Murray. He's often around the football, but not always on time. He's kind of the same guy he was over the course of his career. I want to see more from him. I think against a less mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts, in theory, the linebackers all look better. Jake Ferguson, number 4. I give him credit. I thought he had one of, if not his best, blocking game with the Cowboys against the Eagles. Thought he did a really good job. There's some plays left on the field. Even though I don't even show up in the box score because there's a penalty on the one, right? Look, there's a lot of discourse over hospital balls and seam shot. The hospital ball dividing line these days is, do we like you as a quarterback? And that's what it is. Geno Smith, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, guys who throw the seam shots a lot. We like you. It's honorable football, right? That's what the money's for, Jake. Hold on to the ball, right? Make those plays. Be the guy that you were back in 2020, in 2023. Otherwise, you're going to get hit. That's what the money's for, man. Go make the play. Number 3 is George Pickens. I am not as doom and gloomy as I know some are, having rewatched the All-22. Yeah, there were some plays where the effort's not 100%. If we're being honest here, you can do that for every wide receiver in the NFL, except for the blocking receivers, right? I wanted to lock it a little bit more. We'd also all feel better about his stat line if the 50-yard penalty, 45-yard penalty, whatever it was, counted, which should count, by the way. Credit fantasy people with the penalty yardage, because then it's 4 for 70. Okay, we're not mad about it. Would not be surprised if the Cowboys get Pickens going early in this one. Who scores the first touchdown for the Cowboys? Let me know in the comments section of today's show who scores that first TD for Dallas. Osa Odighizuwa. We spent a lot of time talking about the pressure for the Giants, and we'll see if Andrew Thomas plays, but he's my high-paid defensive lineman now. John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, have success, Osa. Be disruptive. I've seen him. I kind of saw Osa last year in particular under the radar. I probably should have built a graphic for it. Has kind of dominated the Giants. He's been really impactful against New York specifically. I think he's going to have a big game. Finally, I'm not going to put the quarterback on there every week, but I've got pretty damn high expectations for Dak Prescott this week. And I do think, frankly, he's going to meet them because he always meets them against the Giants. His career, 7.9 yards per attempt, 29 TDs, 8 interceptions. He's won not 1, not 2, not 3, 13 straight games against the Giants. 13. My child has never seen Dak Prescott lose against the Giants. And that was before we even trying, so it's kind of cheating. I've been almost been dating my wife the entire time. It's been that long. Not quite as long, but still, you guys know what I mean. 28 TDs, 6 interceptions. You do the proration. He's an MVP quarterback against the Giants. All he does is light those dudes up. It's all he does. I fully expect a big game out of Dak Prescott this week against the New York Football Giants. If it doesn't happen, I'll be disappointed, if not outright mad. We have gained a ton of ground in our super chat battle against the Giants for what they did last week. We are over halfway there. We got a big $50 super chat that I want to get to first, and then you can go get the shotties, and we'll go through all the other super chats here. If we beat the Giants in the battle, I'll do a free beer bong as well. So $50 from Danny Fortney. By the way, the 50s and 100s, they do get you extra entries, as the pro-rated figure does, into our jersey raffle. So Danny, thank you very much. Give you a ton of entries into the signed Jason Witten jersey raffle. It says, in my opinion, I think if Shoddy and his culture of talent, but also guys that love to play the game, would have taken over last year. Also, support coaches having the same mentality would make this year great. I think you say it would have been better last year is what you're saying there, Danny. I like it. Every time Schottenheimer speaks, I typically like what I hear. I like it. I think he's efficient, effective. I like what I hear from him. I think he seems genuine too, and I believe him when he says stuff. I hope that leads to results. This is not unique to the Cowboys. It's very common just overall. So the shot is 50. The shot is 50. It's on the menu. I think it's on the right side of the fridge. Brought out the beer bong for me. What are we doing out here? I think I want to believe in Schottenheimer. I need to see it all because the culture can be better. I need to be clutch too. This team has not been clutch for about a year and a half now. Ever since that Packers game, they haven't really been clutch since then. Did it get Steelers? Been kind of light beyond that. So I like what I hear. I like what I see from him. This is one in the fridge, right? Sweet. We're almost out then. Perfect. I'll make a fresh batch. Boom. Shotty time. Well, I guess we have... All right, whatever. There wasn't enough for two. That's fine. Woo! Thank you, Danny. Yeah, I hope it works out. I do like him a lot as a person, and I want to like him a lot as a coach, and he will do that by winning a bunch of games for me. So, $2 from Daniel. Ooh. Tom, will the Cowboys sign a corner now that Bland is hurt? We'll see. I have my doubts on that front. I hope that it happens. I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know if the Cowboys know how severe or not severe that injury actually is. So we're going to have to monitor it. But I hope it's a 2-week injury and he's back and there's no IR stint and the Cowboys survive for 2 games. But, I mean, we were all pretty worried about the injury status before, about the depth before a guy got hurt, and now they're hurt again. So we'll see. Jason Phillips, a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jason. Says, go Cowboys. Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate that one. Cheers to you, my friend. Angel Angel Alexander on the hot seat. Steele, Ferguson, Murray Jr. Steele, big picture, yes. I think he is fighting for a job for next season. This season, not on the hot seat right now. Jake Ferguson is not either. He just got paid. Got to be better than what he was last week, but not hot seat status. Kenneth Murray, yes, I would say Kenneth Murray hot seat. Cowboys might not feel the same way, but I think that's worth mentioning. All right, Cameron Palmer, a $20 super chat. Thank you, Cameron. Extra entries heading your way on the Cowboys Report for the signed Jason Witten jersey. We'll raffle that off in-game on Sunday. Here's the updated super chat battle. We are just shy of 100, 98-96. Giants now at 152-87. Can we get there before the show ends? I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes on the clock. If the super chats come in, we'll stay live. If they don't, we'll have to end things and go about the rest of our day, and I can go pick up my kid. That is the super chat battle right now. Can the 100? If we get there, I'll do a beer bong. So if someone puts in 100, I basically do 2 beer bongs right now, is what we'll do. So that is the super chat battle right now against the Giants. Daniel's begging for Anthony McMillan to show up. It's funny. It's funny. All right, this is the Super Chat menu, by the way. Any super, we'll give you a shout-out. $5, you're into our Jason Witten jersey raffle. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 just did a shot. I've got more back there, and we'll do more shots if we get there. $100 is the beer bong. You also go on the Cowboys Helmets of Honor. Once this fills up with the blue star stickers all the way up the top and then all along the sides, not on the logo, though, that's inappropriate. Everyone who puts in 100 is entered to win it. We will raffle it off once it is filled up. Got 6 entries in week 1. Excited to see how many entries we give this week. So that is the Super Chat menu on today's show. 1 minute left. I don't know if we're going to get there. As we wait, who you got between the Cowboys and the Giants? C for the Cowboys, G for the G-men. 98% voting in favor of the Dallas Cowboys. So get those votes in. C for the Cowboys, G for the Giants. I like the C's. Daniel, Mingo was on the field, but he was just doing rehab work. I think he'll be back around week 5. That's because he has to miss the first 4 games / weeks. So, progress, but, I think expected progress and still going to have to kind of wait on that front. Folks, will be live for every single game this year, every week, multiple live shows. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button at youtube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. Didn't beat the Giants? It's okay. Let's crush them during our watch party instead.